Russian authorities initially claimed that a Ukrainian strike in Kursk targeted a civilian building. However, Russian military bloggers later revealed that the attack was actually a precise strike on the command post of Russia's 810th Marine Brigade in Lvov. The first morning messages are already being spread in Russian channels, confirming the 810th Brigade's command post in Lvov, Kursk region, was indeed hit, reportedly with Himars, as confirmed by Ukraine's general staff. They sent their last regards to the fallen comrades. It is also reported that the deputy commander of the 810th Brigade was eliminated. The Ukrainian armed forces have reportedly eliminated the deputy commander of Russia's 810th Marine Brigade. Salim Pashtov, who was at a command post in Lvov, Kursk region at the time of the strike, was reportedly killed. The 58th Brigade striking at Russian supply lines in their Belgorod region. FPV drones from the 58th Motorized Brigade are actively striking Russian positions in Krasny Khutor and Malinovka. Ukraine's ongoing strikes on Russia's Belgorod region have become a key part of its military strategy. While these attacks may seem limited in scope, they carry significant tactical and psychological weight. Belgorod is not only close to the border, but also serves as a critical hub for Russian military logistics, housing supply depots, transport routes, and staging areas for troops. By targeting these facilities, Ukraine disrupts the flow of ammunition, fuel, and reinforcements to the front lines, weakening Russia's ability to sustain prolonged offensives. Additionally, these strikes force Russia to divert air defenses and resources away from active combat zones, stretching its military thinner across multiple regions. This shift gives Ukraine breathing room along its borders and reduces the pressure on cities and infrastructure within its territory. Beyond the battlefield, strikes on Belgorod serve another purpose, reminding the Russian public that the war, often perceived as distant, can directly affect their own communities. This puts political pressure on the Kremlin, challenging the narrative of invincibility and potentially sowing doubt about the war's long-term feasibility. For Ukraine, every strike on Belgorod is a calculated move to disrupt, deter, and defend. It's not just about retaliation. It's about shifting the balance of power, one strike at a time. The 414th Unmanned Strike Aviation Systems Brigade, Magyar Birds, captured the moment when Russian motorcyclists hit a magnetic mine near Pokrovsk. Igor Girkin, in a new message to his supporters from prison, declares the futility of the special military operation and the Kremlin's inability to wage total war. He predicts either a soft capitulation by Moscow or the collapse of its military machine if the war continues in its current trajectory. Here's my brief assessment of the situation. The enemy demonstrates readiness to wage a total war to the bitter end. This is underscored by openly terroristic raids, which have become daily occurrences on both major and minor Russian cities, Rylsk, Kazan, Oryol, etc., one after another. The enemy shows Moscow that no Oreshniki have frightened them in the slightest, as the strikes are directed only at industrial enterprises and infrastructure. Meanwhile, the majority of weapons, equipment, and various supplies for the Ukrainian armed forces are sourced from abroad. This means the Russian armed forces are incapable, even theoretically, of significantly disrupting the enemy's supply lines. As for the suffering of the Russian population in Ukraine, the authorities couldn't care less. It'll just make them angrier at the Moscows, naturally. Moscow, on the other hand, is clearly not prepared to wage such a total war. It's beyond the modest capabilities of certain high-ranking officials. Moreover, it would require them to take full responsibility for conducting the war, whereas the Ministry of Defense is solely responsible for the special military operation. And even that is questionable. Ukraine will continue escalating its strikes, in both frequency and intensity, pushing Moscow toward precisely this overextension, likely calculating, perhaps not without reason, that, given the growing fatigue of the Russian population from this senseless military operation, our authorities will either softly capitulate or finally strain themselves and soon collapse. Both outcomes are entirely acceptable to the forces behind Kiev that are truly directing the process. Unfortunately, as practice has shown, these forces are out of Moscow's league. These are the same red lines that our leaders will never cross, even in their worst nightmares. A sinister and above all cynical message by Iran. Iran congratulated Ukraine on Christmas, wishing peace in the new year. In the same morning, Russia attacked Ukrainian infrastructure with Iranian-supplied Shahed drones. On Wednesday, December 25th, it was reported that Ukrainian pilots and mechanics finished their 6-month training on French Mirage 2000-0-5F fighters. The news came from French aid to Ukraine on the social network X. After 6 months, the training of Ukrainian pilots and mechanics on the Mirage 2000-5F has come to an end. Merry Christmas, the message reads. Reference: the Mirage 2000 is a French multi-role fighter developed in the 1970s by Dassault Aviation. It was the main combat aircraft of the French Air Force in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Its first flight took place in 1978, a year after the MiG-29, and it was adopted for service in France in 1984. The Mirage 2000 is also used by the armies of Greece, Egypt, the UAE, India, Peru, and Taiwan. Previously, Brazil and Qatar operated the aircraft as well. The Mirages have seen action in conflicts in Bosnia, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, and elsewhere. On June 6th, Emmanuel Macron announced that France would supply its fighter jets to Ukraine. The following day, he confirmed the start of training for Ukrainian pilots and mechanics. However, Macron didn't specify how many aircraft were being discussed. In October, French Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu stated that Ukraine would receive Mirage 2000 fighters in the first half of 2025, equipped with new systems. Later reports indicated that the first 3 Mirage 2005 jets would be delivered to Ukraine in the first quarter of 2025. Western allies are set to deliver advanced fighter jets to Ukraine in 2025, marking a significant boost to its air force. These jets, like the F-16s, will enhance Ukraine's ability to counter Russian air superiority, defend critical infrastructure, and strike key targets more effectively.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.